those statements, and you're saying, with the exception of the hearsay rule, you can say it, and then these folks can cross-examine. So, Ms. Corporon, I'm not sure that I'm understanding your objection.
This is a double level of hearsay, Your Honor. We have a witness on the stand who is the declarant saying he saw something somewhere from another declarant. That's one level of hearsay. The declarant of that hearsay, who's the man on the witness stand, is not a party opponent. He's a declarant for which there is no exception. Also, the best evidence of some confession somewhere is to show the confession. If it were 1940 and somebody had been taken into a police room and handed a pad of paper and told to write down a confession, we'd expect the written confession to show up in the courtroom. If there's a confession now in the 21st century on the internet, surely the FBI or the Utah special agent has a copy of that confession and they would show us the confession. But to have an agent say there was a confession somewhere is hearsay on that first stage of communication. It's also not the best evidence. To have him characterize whatever was said as a confession. Just have him put the thing up on the screen and say, here it is. This is what I looked at. This is what I found on the internet. That's the best evidence.
Have a seat. Your response, Ms. Corporon, if any.
Your Honor, he's merely talking about what he observed on the internet, and I will ask another question if you would like.
Yeah, because I agree with Ms. Corporon's hearsay analysis.
I'm going to try again. Did you observe Mr. Hsiung give a video confession on any of the open source spaces you looked at?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. It's the same problem. I can hire people to make a video that looks very much like Mr. Hsiung that I can put up on the internet, and somebody else can come in and say, I saw it and I think it was my co-defendant here, and I think he said something. Put the document up so we know what we're talking about, instead of some phantom confession out there that we haven't been shown and haven't seen. Show us the confession. That's the only best evidence.
Objection sustained.
All right. Did you see any other media content on your open source spaces that helped you to understand where the alleged burglary and theft occurred?
Yes. Same thing. Social media posts on Direct Action Everywhere's website, talking specifically about Smithfield.
And again, Your Honor, objection. I can go on anybody's website and post something saying space aliens landed next door.
So,
It's
Ms.
not evidence.
Corporon, I'm listening to what this person did as he was doing an investigation. I'm letting him talk about that. As to admissions, I mean, that's one thing, but he has the right to and has the duty to give us information on what he uncovered in his investigation. So I'm going to allow this. Go ahead.
I'll try to repeat my question. Did you observe on any type of social media on the internet or websites you looked at as part of your collection of many different sources of evidence for this case that gave you the answer to where the alleged burglary and theft occurred?
Yes. So again, I saw posts on social media, both
Well, just a
on,
second. The yes is the answer that I'll allow. Ask another question. Yes, he did
Was there any,
look at information.
again, going to the where, you just mentioned Smithfield. Can you narrow that down as to where on the Smithfield property the alleged crimes occurred?
So, well, there were images and video that I saw in social media of the barn in question in this case. So, yes, Beaver County, Utah, Smithfield owned property.
Was there just one barn?
There were at least two, gestation barn and the farrowing barn.
What did you find about the alleged crimes of burglary and theft regarding what was taken from the barns?
So the information that I received from the FBI and Beaver County, as well as what I observed on social media online, all the defendants' pages with their names and faces on them, was that...
Objection, Your Honor, it's all hearsay. It's what he got from the FBI, it's what he got from social media. Your Honor, I submit this witness can say, I talked to the FBI, I read social media, and that was my investigation, next question. But to say I made conclusions from that it was a particular barn burglarized, or a particular person who did it, or a particular pig who was taken, that's all hearsay.
Well, an investigator does an analysis, does a conclusion, and then that's presented to prosecutors. I mean, we went through this morning. Ms. Macanas, I'm wondering, this just seems duplicative of what we heard this morning. I'd like you to go into this witness, unless you have exhibits for him to look at, ask him if he did that as an investigation, and did he turn it over to anybody?
I do have Rule 804 that I'd like to put on the record, which is exceptions to the rule against hearsay.
Okay.
Rule 804, subsection 3A. The subsection 3 says an exception to the rule against hearsay is statement against interest. A statement that a reasonable person in the declarant's position would have made only if the person believed it to be true, because when made, it was contrary to the declarant's proprietary or pecuniary interest.
Okay, well, let's do this. I'm not sure that the jury needs to become schooled in the rules of evidence. I want to have this discussion outside the presence of the jury. Members of the jury, I'm going to have a break. We'll kind of talk about this without you having to hear and make any sort of decisions that I should be making. Please, during this recess and every break, don't discuss the case with anyone or among yourselves. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case in your presence. Do not talk to or communicate with me or any other participant in the trial. Thank you for being with us, but all rise for the jury to a little break.